Morning, comrade. Dr. Clarke put something in my head again. I want to ask the labor right them a question. Me not ask the PNP them because the PNP them are going to give me a biased answer. So me ask the labor right them this question. What would happen this morning if somebody like Shelley and Fraser, Sharika Jackson, Kishan Thompson, these are some of who is on top right now. The young man, Civil, whatever his name is. What would have happened this morning if we get up and heard the news that all of these athletes decided that they're going to run for the United States or another country because those countries are paying them better? What would we say? What would you, Labour right, would be saying about our athletes this morning if they decided that they are going to take up an offer for the US, for Great Britain, or some other country because they are paying them better? Would you, Labour right, criticize them? Would you, Labour right, say they are unpatriotic? Tell me, because everybody is looking better. Okay? So what would you say? Because many of you Labour right congratulate him, including the idiot whoever was Prime Minister. I say him congratulate. And we are one idiot on the side too. Talk about him a congratulate. And Peter Phillips me talk, let me come straight. But him a congratulate Nigel Clarke. What Nigel Clarke did is his personal gain is nothing. It can't do nothing for Jamaica. It won't help in no way, shape, or form. Nigel Clarke jump ship because he's looking better, man. What he do, he use Jamaica, put we under some pressure, wreck our economy, and so them sterilize it, because he follow the IMF and do what the IMF say, and then the IMF love him and see that he's a puppet, so they quickly take him in now and give him a big offer. He has done nothing for Jamaica. The Jamaican economy is in a worse position than what Nigel Clarke come and see it. It's worse. Nigel Clarke done nothing in wreck the economy, jump ship and gone. And yet you have some Labour right now can tell we say people to stay here and sacrifice and make Jamaica a better place. Me I said to every single Jamaican, do the same thing when Nigel Clarke do. Only one thing him do when the part women are like, he wreck the economy before he run. But if you can run before you wreck the economy, run. But if any of these athletes getting a better deal and they run, none of you can criticize them. Somebody tell me where me wrong, please. So everybody will look betterment. So everybody gone. So that's why yesterday I have to say to the teachers, lawyers, doctors, nurse, civil servant, anyone of you see better, go on. Because Nigel Clarke ton of money when he himself, a big increase when he himself, and he run left that because that end up too small. See what happened this morning? The dollar reached a new record level this morning again, record of broken of the dollar because the US and Nigel Clarke and all of them have them plan for the US dollar go to $200, believe it or not. So if any one of these athletes decide to run left Jamaica, no one know who in Jamaica will criticize them or which Labour right can criticize them. Because Nigel Clarke run left 24 million because he look betterment. Everybody will look betterment. But you all think about it.
Hello, JPU family. Welcome to another episode. So I just shared a voice note with you that was sent to me this morning for an answer. The person said that they want to hear from a Labourite. I'm not a Labourite, but since the voice note was sent to me for an answer, whether sarcastically or otherwise, I will answer. And I invite you guys, the subscribers and listeners, to leave your comments and your answers in the comment section as well, and we'll read them. So first and foremost, the gentleman made himself clear that he was a supporter or member of the PNP. He asked the question, what if our athletes were supposed to get up tomorrow and say that they're going to go run for the United States. So he's talking about athletic teams, athletic team representing Jamaica, switching over to the U.S. athletic team. Now, in the case of Nigel Clarke and the IMF, Nigel Clarke was the finance minister for Jamaica, and Nigel Clarke decided to take a job at the IMF. Now, the IMF does not belong to the United States. It's not a team that Nigel Clarke joined. The IMF is a facilitator of 190 countries. So the comparison that is being made is absurd, to say the least. And to be honest, this conversation of leaving Team Jamaica and going to Team USA, it shows that the person asking the question is ignorant to what the IMF is and what it stands for. But since we over here at Jamaica Politics Uncovered, our job is to make sure that people are informed, we'll go ahead and inform the person asking the question. So here you are looking at the team at the IMF. It is headquartered in Washington, D.C., and as you can see, a diverse group of people, men and women from all over the place, who work at the IMF. Here you have the manager and the deputies, and you have a diverse group here. You have Antoinette, who is leaving because she's retiring. She's from Liberia. You have Boli, who's from China. You have Gita, who is an Indian American. And the body that makes up the management team, they are a diverse group of people in terms of background and gender. Nigel Clarke from the Caribbean region will join the management team at the IMF. The IMF's global membership is 190 countries, and it was founded by 44 member countries that sought to build a framework for economic cooperation. It was established in 1944 after the Great Depression. The IMF is instrumental in things like disaster relief or in the development of member countries. Let us look at the profile of a few of its members. Here you have Miss Antoinette from Liberia. She's an economist who is now a deputy managing director at the IMF. But before assuming her current role at the IMF, she was a distinguished visiting fellow at the Center for Global Development and a co-chair for the 19th replenishment of the International Development Association, the World Bank's Fund for the Poorest. She previously oversaw and significantly enhanced the International Monetary Fund's engagement with its sub-Saharan African members as director of the African Department between July 2008 and August 2016. As Minister of Finance in post-conflict Liberia, January 2006 through 2008, she led the country through the clearance of its long-standing multilateral debt arrears. So she has a long resume of service, and she kind of has the same background as Nigel Clarke and was chosen by the IMF for almost the same reasons. So as you can see here, before joining the bank, she worked in economic advisory positions in Liberia's Ministries of Finance and Planning. Mr. Bo Li of China, before joining the IMF, worked for many years at the People's Bank of China, most recently as deputy governor. So he has background in, financing, and that's what brought him to the IMF. Nigel Clarke now of Jamaica and the Caribbean region. Last year, Moody's ratings upgraded the government's rating to a B1 and changed its outlook to a positive. In June, Jamaica, the island, was removed from the Watchdog Financial Action Task Force, so-called grey list of countries deemed to be doing little to combat money laundering one of Nigel's signature achievements as minister. Clarke has been key in negotiating credit lines with the IMF starting in 2016 as Ambassador of Economic Affairs before being appointed Finance Minister 2 years later. During his tenure, Jamaica's central bank became an autonomous body and an independent fiscal commission was created. He also spearheaded policy coming out of the COVID-19 pandemic, allowing the nation's economy to recover quickly. Nigel has also been credited for continuing the policies that were in place before he became the country's finance minister. The argument that Nigel wrecked the economy in Jamaica is one that is ridiculous. It is part of the disinformation that members of the PNP have been propagating. They don't do any reading and research, and they don't come with any research-based information when they come to make these outrageous arguments. If you look at the people who are appointed to the deputy leadership positions at the IMF, these are not people who wreck economies. The PNP has two factions. You have the Rise United movement, who are the ones who support Mark Golding. They are the ones who just come out and speak without evidence. They come out and just talk things to talk, and they're in a desperation status at this time because Mark Golding is a hard sell and he has no policy. He has nothing of substance to say to the Jamaican people to give them any hope to a future that is better than what we have now before us. The Rise United people and those who support Golding and Bunting, they have a habit of denigrating, sabotaging, and undermining. That is what they do. That is what they're known for. That is what they did to Dr. Phillips to wrestle the party from him. And they're no leaders because if you look at the PNP right now, it doesn't even look like a political party or organization. So they're trying to do the same tactic on the government and members of the government: undermine, sabotage, character assassinate, lie on them. That's what they do. And that is why they're angry at Dr. Phillips, because that's not what he did. And what they're doing is just not working, and it will not work. When they start speaking truth and when they start, trying to debate people with evidence and fact, then people will take them serious. As I've answered the question very earlier on in this video about what if the athletes were supposed to get up tomorrow and go play for Team USA or run for Team USA. The IMF is not a Team USA organization. So they first need to understand what the IMF is first before they make such a ridiculous analogy. The final thing I want to say in this video is about SSL, because that's one of the things I see them going around. Oh, Nigel is leaving and he didn't handle SSL. First of all, SSL has been around since the 1970s, over many administrations, JLP and PNP. And it's only now that SSL is in a situation where they're having to answer to criminal activities. Right now, SSL is a criminal matter where the fraud had been taking place there. They're in court at this time. So what is happening now has nothing to do with Nigel. Nigel is not an investigator and he does not deal with criminal matters. The police, the financial investigators, and the courthouse must now deal with SSL, who is also in court with the FSC. So Nigel Clarke has nothing to do with this at this point in time.
We're not open today.
Oh, so you're not open for business?
Not today.
Would you be open on Monday? Oh, go ahead.
Well, I wouldn't be able to give you that information, but we're just not open today.
TVJ News understands that scores of clients have been reaching out to the entity with queries about the state of their funds. It's also understood that some are hoping to withdraw their investments from the institution, but for many, their calls were futile. As it relates to the progress of the investigation, that is not yet clear. However, our sources tell us that the FID has been taking client statements and that a senior member of Usain Bolt's management team has provided a statement. The Financial Services Commission has instituted instituted enhanced oversight on Stocks and Securities Limited SSL as the investigations continue. This means the company can continue to do business. However, the FSC will be combing through transactions and monitoring the movement of funds and securities into and out of SSL. Javon Keys, TVJ News.
So, of all the people that the IMF has appointed, they chose to put Nigel Clarke on there, who is a horrible finance minister who wrecked his economy, who wrecked his country. Why would they do that? There are so many people in the world. Why would they pick a Nigel Clarke who is so horrible to replace this esteemed economist, female from Liberia, who's been there for so long and has done so much over her career? Why would they do that? Guys, you know what's the sad thing about this? You know how now we live in a social media age where everything is online and stuff like that. Can you imagine when the leaders and the deputy leaders at the IMF say the local Rise United faction, them in the PNP, or them a carry on social media and I try to defame Nigel? What a disgusting set of people. Them. Can you imagine when them a read those things? And guys, no, are them alone I say them something there about Nigel, you know. Can you imagine when Nigel see them something there? Them want to character assassinate Nigel and him not even go start the local work yet. That is the Rise United movement for you. What a disgusting set of people. You know who I want them to attack? You see like how them attack Dr. Phillips? Because he's not being a character assassin like them and wicked like them. I want them to attack the Prime Minister of Barbados. She came out, congratulated Nigel and spoke about how good it is that an individual from our region and from Jamaica is going to be at the IMF in that position as deputy manager. I want them to read what she said and go and attack her. Or come and tell us, because they've always been very fond of her. But come and tell us what you think about her statement and her position on this historic appointment. I think what they need to do is admit that Nigel has done a good job. Why I say that is because if Nigel was a horrible finance minister who mashed up Jamaica according to what them say, then why would they even have an argument about him leaving? Why would they become so unhinged? And why are they having a meltdown? Shouldn't they be saying bye-bye, thank you, go now, we're happy you're gone? That's what they should be saying. They shouldn't be calling him a traitor and this and that and one heap or something. You know what? Nigel Clarke is more a patriot than Mark Golding, who have him British citizenship and him telling him on the face say him nah give it up. When you remember, Mark Golding, who wants to lead Jamaica with his British citizenship and British allegiance, and telling us say he's not in violation of the Constitution when every lawyer who come talking at Jamaica said, yes, you are in violation. And what we have as proof is that the case has been before the court before with the JLP MPs them. We don't want to talk about patriotism. Maybe we should revisit that out on the YouTube platform here. It has been over 60 days since Mark Golding was found out with his dual allegiance, want come lead Jamaica with him bright self. Eh? We don't want to talk about patriotism. We don't go sit down here. Anyway, JPU family, thank you for watching. Make sure you're keeping it locked here to Jamaica Politics Uncovered. If you are new to this platform or listening for the first time, please consider subscribing. It is free. And make sure you turn on your notifications so you don't miss any of our uploads or our live broadcast. Take care until next time.